Somebody once went on the record that winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. We're not totally sure that that's true, but winning is very important, especially in the National Football League. And when we can compare teams to one another in eras, it's always a great thing to do. And we have a special today. The question comes up, which division in the NFL has won the most Super Bowls? We have that answer coming up in this edition in just a moment.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history. Your host, Darren Hayes, is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the gridiron, one day at a time.
Hello, my football friends. This is Darren Hayes of PigskinDispatch.com. Welcome once again to the Pigpen, your portal to positive football history, and welcome to this special edition. As we are in the off-season, it's quiet time in the National Football League, as training camps will be breaking open here later in July, and we have gotten through 58 Super Bowls in this era of the National Football League. And the NFL has really set themselves up pretty well. There's 32 teams. 16 in each conference, 4 divisions in each conference that have 4 teams. Everything is evenly distributed. The math works out. If you have everybody play on any given weekend, all teams are playing. There's no buys. It's a wonderful thing and well-balanced attack and great marketing by the NFL. So this is a good time to look at which division in the National Football League, currently division, has won the most Super Bowls. We're going to count teams by their old names. For instance, we're going to say that the Tennessee Titans are the Houston Oilers. We'll see if they have any Super Bowl wins. We're going to put, teams like, the Seattle Seahawks in their current division, not the conference that they started off with or some other division that they were in. So we're going to keep it that way, 24 divisions and where the standings are, and how many Super Bowls each one of those franchises has. Fair enough? There's our rules. So let's start off with our first division that only has 2 Super Bowls, and that is the AFC South. Now let's be fair, it's kind of a newer, younger division. After all, Jacksonville, the Houston Texans, they aren't that far along in the football franchise sort of things. They're both probably a couple decades into, there may be 25 years for the Jacksonville Jaguars, a little bit less for Houston. But then you have, a team that's a little bit older, the Tennessee Titans, who were the Oilers in the past. And we can't count their AFL days until the AFL played in the Super Bowl. So there were 3 years there where the AFL played in the Super Bowl. Houston didn't make any of those. They did make one Super Bowl, did not win any. The only 2 Super Bowls in the AFC South both belong to the Colts. One was the Baltimore Colts in Super Bowl V as they beat the Dallas Cowboys 16-13 in a really close game at the Orange Bowl back there in 1971. And then the Indianapolis Colts, led on the arm of Peyton Manning and friends, they beat the Chicago Bears 29-17 in Super Bowl 41. I think most of us remember that game. So they're sort of at the bottom end of the spectrum, but kind of understandable. It's kind of, 3 teams that don't have a whole lot of, 2 teams that don't have a lot of seasons to choose by to make that eligible, and a couple more veteran teams. Then we go to the NFC South. Well, they only have 3 Super Bowls between them. Now, the Atlanta Falcons, they were in a couple Super Bowls. One, they should have beat the New England Patriots. That was Tom Brady and friends' amazing comeback that they had in the fourth quarter to come back and escape and win that one in overtime. The Atlanta Falcons don't have it. The Dirty Birds era, they didn't win the Super Bowl there, even though they played in one. But the Tampa Bay Buccaneers won 2, and the New Orleans Saints had won 1. Carolina was also in the Super Bowl, didn't win it. So 3 Super Bowls for the NFC South. Like we said, 2 for Tampa. They had Super Bowl 55 and 37. 55 was the Tom Brady Super Bowl. 37 was that amazing run that Tony Dungy took them on. And John Gruden. Tony Dungy built the team. Gruden wins the Super Bowl. And Super Bowl 44 with the New Orleans Saints, Drew Brees, and that amazing, free kick that they had where, the onside kick, unexpectedly getting the ball. That's sort of the highlight of that game, and a big interception by great defense by the Saints. Well, third spot in the division race, the NFC North. Now, this is a grisly veteran division. You have some of the oldest teams in football. The Green Bay Packers, the Chicago Bears, Detroit Lions, Minnesota Vikings are, they have 50 plus years in the NFL. But 5 Super Bowls out of 58 in that division as it currently stands. Chicago Bears won one of those, Super Bowl 20, with the Super Bowl shuffle, Walter Payton and the Fridge and that great Buddy Ryan defense they had and Mike Ditka. The other 4 Super Bowls belong to the Green Bay Packers. They won Super Bowl number 1 and 2 with Bart Starr and company, beating Kansas City in Super Bowl 1, 35-10, beating the Oakland Raiders 33-14. Not very close games for Super Bowls, but they showed the NFL's dominance over the AFL in those first 2 Super Bowls. Then they got some Super Bowls a few years later after that. Super Bowl 31, the Packers and Brett Favre beat the New England Patriots 35-21, and the Packers beat the Steelers in Super Bowl 45, 31-25 with Aaron Rodgers and company. So 5 Super Bowls, NFC North. Next up is the other North Division, the AFC North. Well, the Baltimore Ravens have 2 of the 8 Super Bowls of the AFC North. The Ravens, they beat the San Francisco 49ers in Super Bowl 47, 34-31. That was the night the lights went out, the Harbaugh Bowl, when the Harbaugh brothers coached against each other. That was an exciting one. Joe Flacco, the MVP of that. They also won when Ray Lewis was a little bit younger, and they beat the New York Giants in Super Bowl 35, 34-7, and that blowout win in Tampa Bay for that. The other 6 belong to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Super Bowl 9 and 10. Super Bowl 13 and 14. Those are the super Steelers of the 70s. Terry Bradshaw, Jack Lambert, Franco Harris, Lynn Swann, and a plethora of other Hall of Famers on that under Chuck Noll. First team to get to 4 Super Bowls. And then the Steelers added 2 more, one with the Bill Cowher era, and they beat the Seattle Seahawks 21-10 in Super Bowl 40. Super Bowl 43, they knocked off the Arizona Cardinals 27-23 with that great Santonio Holmes catch from Ben Roethlisberger right at the end, and the James Harrison amazing 100-yard pick 6 to end the first half to propel Pittsburgh to that 6th Super Bowl. But amazingly, all the championships that have been won by the Cleveland Browns did not happen in the Super Bowl era. They have plenty in the 40s and 50s, and had some pretty good teams in the 60s as well, but never a Super Bowl one. They had a couple disappointing AFC championship games. I think Mr. Elway and the Denver Broncos stumped them on a couple of those with those famous plays. But 8 Super Bowl wins for the AFC North. That's why they're our next spot in our progression. Somebody that tied them with 8, and this is another one that maybe would be surprising, is the NFC West. Now you think of only 3 teams from the NFC West have won the Super Bowl. The only one that hasn't so far is the Arizona Cardinals, and they are the oldest lasting team in the NFL. They do not have a Super Bowl. They have some NFL championships back prior to the Super Bowl. But the Rams have 2 of the 8. Of course, they won just a few years ago, Super Bowl 56, and beating the Bengals 23-20 with Cooper Kupp as the MVP. And they also beat the Tennessee Titans when they were the St. Louis Rams with Kurt Warner and the greatest show on turf. 23-16 was Super Bowl 34 in favor of the Rams. The 49ers, they have 5 of the 8. They have Super Bowl 16 and 19. Those are some great Joe Montana MVP races there, where they beat the Miami Dolphins 38-16 in Super Bowl 19, Super Bowl 16, 26-21 over the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Montana also was the MVP in the 49ers win in Super Bowl 24 over the Denver Broncos. Super Bowl 23 had Jerry Rice as the MVP as they beat the Bengals again 20-16. Super Bowl 29, Steve Young was the master of ceremonies and the MVP. The Niners crushed the San Diego Chargers 49-26 in that Super Bowl. The Seattle Seahawks, of course, picked up the 8th win for the NFC West in Super Bowl 48 when they beat the Denver Broncos 43-8. Malcolm Smith, the MVP of that game. Well, our next division surpasses the NFC West and the AFC North with their 8 apiece. And they had 9 Super Bowls. And that would be the AFC East. Yes, the AFC East, 9 Super Bowls. Miami Dolphins had 2 of them, that great run they had in Super Bowl 7 and Super Bowl 8. Dolphins beat the Washington Redskins in the undefeated season 14-7. Close game in the Super Bowl. Great season for Greasy and Earl Morale and company as they won that for Coach Don Shula. And Super Bowl 8, the Dolphins beat the Minnesota Vikings 24-7. Larry Zonka leading the way and making the MVP that year. Of course, you can't forget to mention the New England Patriots, who basically in this millennium have won all their Super Bowls. They did win it since 2004. They won 6 Super Bowls. 2002 started out, Super Bowl 36, 38, 39, 51, 53, and 49 are all Super Bowls belonging to New England Patriots. In Super Bowl 36, they beat the St. Louis Rams 20-17, Tom Brady's first Super Bowl win. 38, they beat the Carolina Panthers 32-29. In Super Bowl 39, Philadelphia Eagles fell to the Patriots 24-21. Super Bowl 49, the Patriots stunned the Seattle Seahawks 28-24 on that big interception play where Russell Wilson threw the interception right at the end of the game there. Tom Brady ended up winning Super Bowl MVP of that. Super Bowl 51, the Patriots beat the Falcons in that comeback game we talked about a little earlier, 34-28. Tom Brady MVP. And Julian Edelman was the MVP of Super Bowl 53 as the Patriots knocked off the Rams 13-3 in that exciting game. That 9th Super Bowl for the AFCs, of course, belongs to Joe Namath and his promise in Super Bowl 3 when the Jets knocked off the Baltimore Colts 16-7 to really put the AFL on the map and really progressed that merger and making the leagues be on equal footing there right before the merger. So that was a big game in football history. Well, we have 2 divisions left, and we have one that has a few more Super Bowls than the other. Can you guess who it is? Well, we're going to tell you right now. The AFC West comes in the second place with 10. They have the Denver Broncos winning 3 of those Super Bowls. Super Bowl 32-33 with John Elway, won over the Packers 31-24, and Super Bowl 33 was over the Atlanta Falcons 34-19. Denver Broncos also won Super Bowl 50 with Peyton Manning leading the way. Von Miller was the MVP of the game as the Denver Broncos beat the Carolina Panthers in that game 24-10. The Kansas City Chiefs, of course, have won 4, and they're still going here. Super Bowl 4, they beat the Minnesota Vikings 23-7 with Len Dawson at quarterback and MVP. And the Patrick Mahomes show came in. He took 3 MVPs in these Super Bowls, 54, 57, and 58 just recently. The Chiefs beat the San Francisco 49ers in 54, 31-20. They also beat the 49ers this past year, 25-22. And in the middle there in Super Bowl 57, they beat the Eagles 38-35 in that exciting game just a few years ago. The Raiders picked up the other 3 of the 10 with one as the Los Angeles Raiders in Super Bowl 18. Super Bowl 11, they were in Oakland. Super Bowl 15, they were in Oakland. So let's start off with Super Bowl 11. They beat the Minnesota Vikings 32-14. Fred Biletnikoff, an Erie, Pennsylvania native, he won that Super Bowl MVP at the Rose Bowl. And Super Bowl 15, the Raiders beat the Philadelphia Eagles 27-10, beating Dick Vermeil and company. It was the big Plunkett game where he had, and Marcus Allen having some great things, Plunkett winning the MVP. Super Bowl 18 was won by the LA Raiders over the Washington Redskins 38-9 in a blowout. Marcus Allen taking home the MVP trophy for that game. So that, of course, leaves us with one left in the biggest division winner of Super Bowls, with all 4 teams contributing. They're the only division in football that can say that each of their teams have won a Super Bowl. That is the NFC East. Of course, the Dallas Cowboys, they claimed 5 of those Super Bowls. Super Bowl 6, 12, 27, 28, and 30. In Super Bowl 6, the Cowboys beat the Dolphins 24-3. Super Bowl 12, the Dallas Cowboys beat the Denver Broncos 27-10. Harvey Martin was the MVP in Super Bowl 12. Super Bowl 6 was Roger the Dodger Staubach. Then you had the great Super Bowl teams of the 90s. Super Bowl 27, Troy Aikman with the MVP game as the Cowboys beat the Buffalo Bills 52-17. They had a rematch of that Super Bowl in Super Bowl 28. Cowboys win 30-13 with Emmitt Smith claiming the MVP crown. And the Super Bowl 30, the Dallas Cowboys 27, Pittsburgh Steelers 17. Larry Brown, a defensive back, taking home the MVP with his pick, a couple of picks that he had in that game. Now the New York Giants contributed to those 13 also with 4 big wins by them. Super Bowl 21, 25, 42, and 46. In Super Bowl 21, it was Phil Simms claiming the MVP crown as the Giants knocked off the Broncos 39-20. And in Super Bowl 25, the Giants beat the Bills in the wide right game 20-19. Otis Anderson, the running back, has a great game and wins the most valuable player. Super Bowl 42, the Giants beat the New England Patriots. Eli Manning's the MVP, 17-14. And almost 4 years to the day after that, the Giants and the Patriots faced off again. Again, Eli Manning's the MVP. Giants 21, New England 17 in that game where the Patriots had a great run and could have had an undefeated season tying the Dolphins. Don't make it. Well, the Philadelphia Eagles, of course, recently won a Super Bowl, Super Bowl 52. The Eagles beat the New England Patriots 41-33 with Nick Foles in that Philly special to win the game for the Eagles, claiming their first Super Bowl. And the Redskins, or the Washington Commanders, the Washington football team, however you want to call them, they won 3 Super Bowls as the Washington Redskins, so we'll give them credit where credit is due. Super Bowl 17, they beat the Dolphins 27-17. In Super Bowl 22, the Redskins beat the Denver Broncos 42-10 with Doug Williams with that brilliant game and making the MVP of that. And in Super Bowl 26, Washington Redskins 37, Buffalo Bills 24 to cap off a great season. So there you have it. If you ever have that question, which division has the most Super Bowls? NFC East is your answer with 13 so far in the first 58 Super Bowls. We hope that's a little bit of history that helps answer some questions, brings back some great memories, maybe some bad memories. But all in all, it's football and it's great fun. And until next time, everybody, have a great gridiron day. That's all the football history we have today, folks. Join us back tomorrow for more of your football history. We invite you to check out our website, pigskindispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. Pigskindispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. Special thanks to the talents of Mike and Gene Monroe, as well as Jason Neff for letting us use their music during our podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.